Well, hello everyone. How is your Thursday going on? Let's start with a very simple sound check just to make sure that you can hear me. And let's see if someone can post. There's a bit of a delay. So I say something, and about 10 seconds later, you hear about it. So let's quickly do a sound check, see if I'm audible. I'm not talking in the void. Oh, sounds good. Thank you very much, Ken. How are you? So, welcome to another Ask the Trainer, and a trainer you shall ask. I have a bunch of questions coming in from our online question form, and I'm self-producing today. So, as usual, mistakes will happen. That is a promise, and we will potentially overrun. And Yes, I've got many questions, so we'll see if these are questions we can reply. Now, before we begin, let's go through the mandatory housekeeping. So let me just bring up this, and I'm going to do some posts in the comments as well for various links. So to get to this page that has all the useful links, you'll need to get your t-shirts, check the events, and ask your question, of course, using this new and fancy form. Use this link over here, and I'm going to copy it from here and paste it in the chat. There we go. It should be up there already. And besides, this will take you to the Max on Events page, which shows all the events that are going on, dates and regions and all that. And of course, you can watch these videos live on the Maxon Training Team YouTube channel and the Maxon YouTube channel. I'm monitoring both chats, but if you want to watch these recorded with comments and timestamps kindly provided by our friend and mentor, Dr. Sassy, please go to the Maxon Training Team after the fact and watch them all recorded. So I'm just going to paste it here so you don't have to type stuff. There you go. Although if you just type on any search engine, Maxon Training Team YouTube channel, it will take you right here. And of course, don't forget to go to the Maxon ZBrush YouTube channel because the content there is absolutely amazing. And ZBrush is a great piece of software and now is available for the iPad. So you can do some couch work or coffee shop work or next to the beach or whatever you like to do work. And if you go to the Maxon store, I'm going to provide you with a link. Give me a second. I've got everything everywhere. So let me quickly find the. Oh, no, you can go and find it here. So if you go here and go to the get your t-shirt, it will take you to this page. And for this month, the code, let me copy this and paste it in here, is happy updating all uppercase. And I'm going to paste it in the chat as well. There you go. So you can copy and paste that code. Please let us know if it doesn't work. We do get very rarely some complaints and we take care of it. And the last thing I want to say, which is very, very important, is that if you have a question in the chat, please preface it with the word question because it will allow us to distinguish because we get so many compliments. Yeah, I've got a closet full of compliments. So in order for us to distinguish it easier in the 6 monitors I have in front of me, plus my video feedback, please preface it with question capitalized so it's easy to see. And without further ado, I'm first going to go to the chat, to the comments, and see. We have our friend Atakan. If I got your question, I don't look at the names when I look at questions, but I've got a list of questions to go through. If you can just repeat it, which question, just a couple of words to remind me which one it was. We have another question here, how to create sci-fi holographic effect in Cinema 4D. And you can do that in about 10,000 different ways. Maybe I can get to that. I've tagged your question. Okay, Mate says, for me, the code is not working. If it's not working, oh, yes, now I'm realizing that they haven't updated the code for September. Yes, I don't see an entry for October. What I'm going to do is I'm going to very quickly ask a question um, on my meeting page. Code for October is not on the page. You're real time, you're seeing how we do things in the training team. When something happens, we contact each other and we always get some answer. So by the end of the show, I'll make sure that the code is available. If not, we will find a way to communicate it out there. Maybe I tweet it. And if you want to follow me and send me direct messages and questions and stuff like that, please bug me or my very good friend Jonas on Twixer. I am at NosemanGR because I'm Noseman. I'm Greek as well. And Jonas builds 3D because he is fundamentally three-dimensional, as far as I know. And what I could do just to make sure that you don't mistype anything and follow someone else, I'm putting it in the chat so you can use that. Oh, the Sprin rig. Okay, so I'm just going to bring this up, Sprin rig. And this is a little comment I was going to make generally. We do get questions where, although the explanation is very elaborate, very clear, it requires us to put together something that we don't know if it's right, we don't know what the conditions are. When you're sending us these kind of very specific project specific questions, please simplify a file that only has the required stuff and put a link in your question. One of our users did do that, and I will show an answer, because otherwise there could be certain details in the setup of the scene which we can't reproduce, or it's too much to set up. So for my good friend Atakan, please provide a link. You can DM me on Twixer, or you can send it through the form. Just say reminder, here's a link to whatever, I don't know what cloud storage you use. Just make sure you don't zip things, because I'm very reluctant to unzip files on tar files. .c4d works with us because I just drop it on Cinema 4D and nothing bad can happen. So yeah, if we can do that, that will be great. So without further ado, let's bring up the computer monitor, my Cinema 4D, and I'm working in the latest version, 2025.0.1. And let's go through the list of questions, which I'm going to quickly have them in a little text file. And let's go here and copy this. I'm going to create a nice little banner. I'm going to paste it in, and I'm adding it, and I'm showing it. So is there a way to merge the Redshift Dome HDRI with the RS Sun, something similar to Octane Mix Sky? One little comment, I do not use any third-party plugins. In fact, although with the help, well, exclusively because a very good friend of mine, which is an amazing developer whose tools you use every day, wrote some plugins for me, and I put them on my YouTube channel. I don't even have those installed. It's necessary for me to keep a vanilla installation so I can test to see if a potential issue comes from Cinema 4D or if it comes from a third-party source. So anything that has to do with anything that's not part of the basic installation of Cinema 4D, it's very hard. So I don't know what Octane Mix. That's a long way to say that. But I will show you how I think what you mean, and how you would do that. And basically, the mixing, as far as I know, if it's about the lighting, it happens without any mix, and it has to do with the intensities. Just like you can have multiple multiple lights in the scene, and they all contribute their part. An HDR. So if I go here and grab any HDR, let's get something that looks warm, because it's getting nice and chilly up here in the mountains of Quebec. So we have this. I'm going to turn on my IPR, and let's add a little floor here. So we're getting the lighting from this. And at the same time, I am going to add a sun and sky rig. So now we have contribution from both of them. If I take the sun and sky and let's say take the intensity down, or take this and rotate it, you will see that we're getting shadows from both the lights. So we're getting contribution. Now, in the case that that wasn't the question, and this octane mix does something else, that will be something that you will have to explain. But both the HDR and the sun sky, just like adding any number of sources, should mix equally. Yeah, so if you're talking about the background itself, that is not something I think we can do, because there is a certain, over here we can set some sort of sky in the background and all that. But in any case, this is, as far as I understand the question, the um, the solution. It just happens. They do mix. There's no overriding. Now, there's a quick question I just saw here. It says, by the way, is it possible to control the intensity of the sun independent from the sky? Oh, let's find out. Here is the sun. Let's see if we have anything. Let's see, intensity. No, these are caustics. What am I doing here? Let's go here and find sun disk intensity. This is just for the visibility of the sun. It doesn't change that. Sun disk scale. Sun glow. No, that's the glow. I do not know if this is possible. I do not see something. Let's see in the general, the intensity multiplier. What I would say is maybe it's better to add a directional light and change the intensity of that particular directional light. Let's find out if it works. Let's get an infinite light. Let's make it a child of this, and let's reset the directions, and let's get this. And I can go, I guess, and change the intensity of this. You can see it's lighting up even more on the left side. So this would be the easiest way to do that. And yeah, I would say, if you want this to be a different color, you can go and set it a different color. So just add one more directional light, because the sun essentially is a directional light, and it works in conjunction with the sky to create this sort of global illumination. Okay. Yeah, this is Miderman. A very good question again. We can't directly do it using MoGraph. This is a setup that could be potentially done using a nodes setup. But distributing objects of different sizes requires for the system to know the size of each object at any given time, and MoGraph directly does not have that capability. Maybe some other elaborate rig could do that, but this is something I need to think about. So let's see what we have here. I'm going to go to a very interesting question from a user that sent me a scene as well. I'm going to go again here to the banners, and I'm going to paste in something. And let's press this, and let's show this. I want a worm-like creature. So let's go and get that worm-like creature. And I'm going to open also the file that there's a potential solution to this. So our friend wants to get this worm-like creature that has this freaky little head over here. And what's happening is that this is a soft body. The body is a soft body. And our friend wants to connect this head as a rigid body to this so it sort of droops down. And there are a couple, yes, we could in theory. So first of all, just to make sure that everything works, I would like to connect these things because it's a complex geometry and make it a rigid body object. Let me get rid of this and let me get rid of my face. Now, in this particular case, what we have here is we have a lot of intersections. And the problem with this setup is that regardless of the way we connect it, we are going to get some conflicting um, collisions between these objects. And when you press play in this, mayhem ensues. And let's give it a couple of seconds to send the data to the GPU, and things will potentially explode. And this is pushed back, this breaks up, and so forth. Now, the idea, first of all, let me introduce you to a little tip. If you go to the rigid body and go to the collision, usually the collision shapes is auto, and this is the cheapest method. It doesn't take into account cavities and stuff like that. It sort of creates a mesh around the object and uses a collision object. If you want to have very accurate ones, although triangle mesh appears to be the best solution, actually convex hulls is the best solution for performance and accuracy. That's number one. The second thing I would like to talk before I connect this and tell you how to potentially fix this is that here we have a thickness of 1.5 centimeters. Now, if I go down here, you will see from the size that this head is very, very small. It's just over 5 centimeters in height. And the collision radius, by definition, is 1.5 centimeters. So that will be out here. So we have a massive amount of collision here. So when you are creating things in scale and you're working in a micro scale, it's always good to be aware of your thicknesses. So you can set this to 0.1 and set this again to 0.1 because this is going to have self collisions. That's not enough in this case. So let me turn this off for a second. You can see inside, wrong button. There you go. Inside here, we have this little polygon island, which I guess was there to hold the head or something like that. I'm not absolutely sure. But in this particular case, it will tend to collide with the object. So the first thing I did was to just go and double click to select this island and delete it. And the other thing was that we still have all these collisions. Now, having said that, if you right click and you go to your simulation tags and you add a connector, let's create them. We can connect rigid bodies with soft bodies and whatnot. It actually finds everything here. And let me set this to live update. Let's set this to 2 and sort of make this a bit less. And let's see if this is going to work. And you can see that it sort of works, but then we get these ghost forces that make the head spin. And the reason we get these ghost forces is that we get a tremendous amount of collisions that the let's say average force applied by the collisions causes this sort of ghost forces to make the head spin. Now, I'm looking here at the comments, and it says ignore initial collisions. Ignore initial collisions. I'm not absolutely sure what this refers to. Is that a suggestion? Anyway, the way I sort of solved this, again, it's not perfect, is to make sure that we have no intersections. And it's good practice when you use multiple objects to make sure. Here, the ears, for example, if they're not going to be visible, just go and delete them. But for this case, I'm just going to make this a bit smaller, and I'm going to raise it up here. And just for the whole thing to function, make sure that when you change something in the geometry, you sort of update it. And let's see if this is going to sort of work. And you see we don't have the ghost forces anymore. Of course, there are many tweaks we can do here. One of the things is to make one of the objects lighter. So you can go to the mass and make this, 1/20th of the mass of the other object, so it doesn't pull so much against it, and various other things you could potentially do. So the reason it wasn't working was because of the combination of all these parameters. So careful modeling, taking care of your thicknesses so that you don't create collisions between objects that are not touching but are close to each other. Those would be the ways to mitigate a situation like this. Okay, and this is what I did in this file over here. I just removed the textures and adjusted the parameters, and it does exactly the same thing. So since we are here, we have a so there are some questions which uh, we can't reply as trainers. So there are some good suggestions always. So let me just give you an example of a good suggestion, but unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about this. And for example, is it possible to simplify some of the recent naming conventions in Cinema 4D, things like pyro connectors and so forth? Now, not going to qualify if I agree or disagree and so forth. I'm getting used to these concepts, but unfortunately, these are questions that we as trainers cannot reply to. We give our suggestions during the development period and so forth. These are very good questions for tech support. So if there's any, or to supply Maxon with an idea. But there's nothing we can do about that. We try to deal with, how to use the software. And if there are any things that Cinema 4D can be improved and so forth, this needs to go through your customer support channels. Okay, another question that unfortunately I cannot answer, I'm just going to give you some examples, is, and I know it pertains to Redshift, but it has to do with Redshift for Maya. Unfortunately, I do not know Maya. I just know Cinema 4D and Redshift for Cinema 4D. So again, this is something to ask tech support questions like these. Now let's go to another one which I can answer. I'm going to go to the chat soon after. I'm going to try and give half priority to the online questions and another half to the chat. So let's go and get this one, and let me paste it here and create a banner, and let's bring it up. I'm following a Rokoko tutorial by my friend Sam, where I need to take my current joint structure of my character that is referencing another joint animation and bake it into keyframes. And it appears that that doesn't work. Now, I didn't have anything quick handy, but what I do have is I'm going to use, I watched that segment of the tutorial, and there's one additional thing you can do. I'm going to close this because I'm going to open the timeline very soon. So let's go and do something equivalent. Okay, I'm going to get a running motion. So running. So let's just bring this in, and we have our motion capture. Right, this will be the source of your motion capture, the equivalent of the Rokoko suit, and puppet. And I can use the. Let me write it again. Puppet. Let's bring our puppet, which is already rigged and all is nice and dandy. So what the request is here, the puppet character can receive the actual motion, the source, from whatever motion capture you have. So now we have this statically running. And the reason it's static is I haven't transferred the Z. I could do that, but I'm not going to do it now with a constraint tag or something like that. Now, you need to know which hierarchy is the one that provides the motion to the particular character. And in this particular case, it's this MoCap rig target, right? And if you look at this, it doesn't have keyframes because it's driven by the data that's coming from the motion capture. So I want to go and I want to remove this one while keeping the animation on this one. So what you do is you open the timeline, and what Sam does in his tutorial, he middle clicks to select everything. And the only step I add to this is you drag everything, because if you middle click, you select all the children as well, as far as the hierarchy goes. And I'm going to drag it in here. So we have no keyframes, but they're all selected now. And now you can go to functions and you can bake this object. No copy, no animate parameters, just rotation and positions and all that. And you press OK, and it will just take a second. Now you can delete this, and your animation should be on those joints. Sometimes what happens is, in the particular case of the character object we're using, there are two hierarchies. We have this hierarchy over here, and then we have another one down here. You need to make sure you bake the correct one. This was something I was thinking of preparing a tutorial for, because I guess users do want this. But in any case, this is now baked. Now, if you want to see what joints are used, you can select from the deformed, the deformed, the skin deformed model, and you can go here and you can right click and select in Object Manager, and you can see that it directly links to that one and not this one over here. I'm not sure what's going to happen if I delete the character. Let's go and break everything. Yeah, there is this interconnected sort of now. Yeah, I totally broke it now. But there is this relationship where, although this is the one, this, I don't know, I'm not absolutely sure how the data flows, but there is a way to actually bake it and remove everything and just leave one. If there's interest, I may do a quick tutorial about this. And this is as far as this question. So now I think it's a good time to go to our chat here, and I'm going to test. So I'm going to bring this up just very quickly. It was the first question. If you can provide an image, maybe there is some interest, or we've had a lot of artists in the past create sci-fi stuff, FUI, a future user interface, or something like that, or fake user interface, the acronym FUI. And there are many ways to do some sort of holographic effect. We can do it with materials and so forth. But the question is, what source are you going to use? Are you going to use an animated character and you want to use textures to do that? Or do you want to get a video projected somewhere in a way that it looks like I guess, a flat hologram? Prince Leia in the first Star Wars and stuff like that. Send a reference or something like that. Again, you can DM me on Twixer, or send a link to something through the forum, and we'll take a look if it's something that has a wide range of interest. We can do something about that. Okay. Let's see. Let's go down. Oh, you linked model under your question. I am looking at the questions, and was there a link I missed? Oh, there was, and I missed it. So allow me to take a look. I'm just going to tag this with a different color in my spreadsheet here with all the questions. And I'm going to take a look. And if you do have a social contact, DM me on Twitter, and I'll take a look and deal with it. Or we can look at it in the next Ask the Trainer. So yeah, thanks, and sorry for not seeing that. I was rushing through these things. Let's go and see. Let's go down. Let's see this one. I haven't read it. So Ihor, I have two cameras. Bokeh is set on both. When I add them to the camera morph, Bokeh stops working. How to adjust? I do not know off my head the morph camera. I haven't used a morph camera with Redshift cameras. Let's test it. Okay, let's test it. Let me see if I can extract something from this. I'm going to create camera 1, and I'm going to navigate somewhere else here. Let's make a cube here, and let's create, so this is camera 1. Excellent. Now let's go somewhere else and create a second camera, camera 2, and this is camera 2. And let's select them both, and let's go to lens effects and whoops, no, optical, and put on bokeh. And now we want to morph. I assume you camera morph. Haven't used that for a while. Morph. So where's my camera? Okay, I think it's a camera morph. So let's get a camera. Let me get a camera and call this camera morph. Let's add a camera, motion camera. There you go. And let's get a camera morph here. Now, the number one thing is make sure that this camera has bokeh as well. And this one and this one. You want to morph the bokehs, don't you? You want to morph the bokehs. I don't even know if that is. I'm just going to go with your question as it is. So the camera morph will morph some of the parameters, but I think that you need to use its own native bokeh. So let's go and test it out now. So I'm going to get this camera here and see if this works. So I'm moving from one camera to the other. And let's go to my Redshift render view. And let's, I don't know, try this. So let's go here and set the bokeh to 1. And let's go also and get my cameras to sort of focus. So camera 1, let's focus it here. Let's get camera 2 and focus it further back and see which parameters go through. Let's make sure you need to select the proper camera here because now it's just using the render camera. And let's see. That's interesting. So if I let's go make it very small. Okay, there you go. Let's make this very small. And let's go aperture 0.1. And let's put this on. You are right. I'm not getting any bokeh. This is something you need to submit as a bug. Yeah. Unfortunately, let's see if f-stop. I'm just putting everything here. And go to camera morph. Reset. No. It doesn't seem to be working. Yeah, this is something you will have to submit because, yeah, unless it's because, let me try this. Oh, it is working. It's blending between the two bokehs. There you go. That was on the wrong camera. Yes. So I think it's a combination of turning these buttons on and making sure that the cameras have the right bokeh. But it does work. I'm viewing through this, and as I'm transitioning through, because one is focusing in a different position from the other, it becomes blurry, as you can see. Here, for example, if I take camera 1 and do this, it should be blurry as well, but in a different direction. So, yeah. Oh, I was clicking the wrong button. Sorry about that. There you go. Yes, so it does. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. It appears to be working. If it's a particular case where it doesn't work for you, please let us know further. Okay, let's see. Where are we now? Let's go. Is a way to simulate water as close as possible. It depends. From a material perspective, from all that, yes, but we don't have a fluid simulator. You can use the volume builder, and you can use various particles, and you can use flocking to keep them distant and so forth. But the answer is it depends how accurate you want it. But if you want to do proper water simulations, no, unless it's a very specific. You can hand make splashes with morphs and stuff like that. But I guess you just want a proper simulation, and you mean with particles, and it's going to be hit and miss depending on what kind of look you want. So I would tend to say not really, but you may get very close. Let's see. Let's go. We have this. Let me check it out. It says, Simon D. Hi. In the material, there's backlighting translucency channel. Where is this channel in the RS standard material? I think this is handled by the subsurface scattering. Good questions. Let's do this. Why not? Let's get a light. Let's get the light to look from the back. I always like to add a target tag and just link to something so I can just move things. And you can see, we can see it from this side, but not from this side. So let's go and add. I think it's a combination. Okay, I think I remember now what they told me to do. So we don't need any weight. I'm not going to do that. We don't need any reflection. Just get rid of anything we don't need, just to keep things simple. And go to subsurface, and let's set this to 1. Okay. We still don't see anything. Sometimes you need to update this, but I think that if we go and make it thin-walled, I haven't applied the material. I apologize for that. There we go. So let's see if the thin-walled was the case, because I hadn't applied the material. Always apply the material, people, and remind me to do that as well. So I'm going to take my area light, and I'm just going to make it a bit narrow, just like a spotlight or something. So there we go. So no, you just add subsurface scattering. That's what you do. And if it's a single-sided object, it will work just like the translucency. Yeah, I guess that's just about it. And you can see the front, and you can see the back. If that's, again, if it's a particular case where this particular solution doesn't work for you, just let us know. Let me see. Okay, let's go and show this one. Hello. I can't figure out how to control particle size over life using a graph or a curve like particular in after, just like After Effects does. Okay, let me see, because it shouldn't be difficult. I'm going to bring up my particles layout, so I have everything here. So changing, let's create a basic emitter. Okay, and I'm going to put different life expectancies so that we can use that. So median life 100 frames, and a spread of 20. So between 100 minus 20, which is 80, and 100 plus 20, which is 120. That's what the variance does. Maybe 50, just to make it more interesting. And of course, go increase this because we can. Number 2, I'm going to leave them at the default 1 centimeter. I'm going to change them using a data mapper. And what else do I need to do? Just go to particle group and show radius, so we can see the radii. We should get particles just shooting out in a second. There we go. We have our particles, and they have their 1 centimeter radius. So using the not color mapper, but the data mapper, we want to map the age. And the question, is it the age, or is it the expectancy? So the age percentage. So these are two different things. They work in a similar fashion. So if you just want the age, here with the data mapper, you say from age 0 to, let's say, 90, I want the radius to be from 1 to 10. And it's going to follow this graph. So the lower value is here, the higher value is here. So what it's going to do, it's going to go to frame 45, they're going to grow, and then frame 90, they're going to be small again. And this should be the way. There you go. Large and then small. Some of them are dying. Now, if for any reason it's, let's go to the age percentage now and just see the difference. So this is absolute value. It doesn't matter if a particle dies at frame 45, it will just die at how big it is. But if you want them to distribute this data mapping across their life cycle, which is different for each particle, then you don't use the age, you use the age percentage. The time of birth is 0, the time of death is 100. So now this is what we're doing, and you will see that the particles now are going to grow, and they're going to die when they're itsy bitsy small, and that's why you see some of them that are more short-lived will grow bigger earlier. So that would be the way you would solve this. Yes. Question is, where can I download Cinema 4DR 19? Yeah, I've heard this request quite often. A lot of the 3D online libraries still have very old files. This is a question for Maxon support. They will guide you to how to do this. There is no generalized, I don't even know where to do that. So yeah, please contact support and they will guide you through this process. Okay. Mate, any way to create a random light flicker without using XPresso? Example, when neon lights flicker in movies due to an electrical malfunction and so forth. Yes. Again, depends on the kind of light you want to. It's just, you can use a noise, you can use all sorts of things. But let me introduce something. Let's see. There was a question about controlling redshift lights using MoGraph, but using a, if I create a light here, I'm going to create this light. So if you take a light, you can add a graph. It opens, in order to create a light material, it currently only works in the old system. But unfortunately, this overrides any ability for MoGraph to control light. So the question I had from a friend about how we can combine the light, the light material and MoGraph, I do not have an answer. It appears it doesn't work. But let's just go and do something simple here. So I'm going to read the question again because I think I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, flickering lights, right? So let's get these. These are lights, and I'm going to, I guess, I'll put them in a line. So let's go and do a linear, and let's spread them out, do this, and make a few of them. Now, in case someone didn't know, if you want MoGraph to control the color of the light has a setting that says blend object color in the object tab. This is actually what allows the light to blend with the light's display color. And MoGraph uses the display color to store the light, or the color of an object. The MoGraph color is a display color. So let's go and turn this on and see what happens here. And good, we have all these lights. Now, I am going to make them visible so I can see what's going on. Good, we have all these lights. And I want to colorize them. So make sure you have the blend object color. And then whatever color you apply to these clones, it will make them have that color. So I can go and create a plane effector, get rid of this. It's going to use the field color. In the field color, I can add some sort of random field and activate the color here. Let's just make sure we refresh here, make sure that everything works. Make this bigger. So we should have field color. And in the fields, we have this assigned to the color. And why is this not, what did I blend these two? I did. Let me see if it's, yes, it's because it blends the two colors. And if it's white, the white blending with any color is going to give us that color over there. So now we have these random little colors going on. Good. And if I tell the noise, hopefully, let's animate this and see if we're going to get we're getting flickering colors. So if you make sure that your noise, I think if I go to the color remap, I'm using the random field. Let's see the color remap. Maybe I use a gradient here to make them black and white. And what you could do here is create black and white stripes, so I can interpolate all knots to step and create black and white steps here. And just by rigging it up this way, you're creating these sort of flickering lights. And yeah, this is one of the ways you could do this. If you don't want to go totally out, you can, instead of black, you can use something like a grayish color, you know. But in any case, you can control this in this particular manner. Okay, let's go down. What time is it? I need to look at the time as well. With flickering lights, this one in 25, the color absolute no, not refreshing live in the retro. Play with the color values. I don't know. I'm sorry. This is again a technical question. If it's some sort of a little glitch, little gremlin, please let tech support know. Let's see, one spline point. Let's see this. Can you quickly show how one might animate one spline point with an align to spline? How to animate one spline point with an align to spline. So you want to move a spline point using another spline's align to spline. Okay, I don't know what exactly the use is for this. I trust you have your reasons, but let me do it another way. One of the things I like to do is sometimes to create splines using nulls. Now, let's assume you have an existing spline. There we go. So make it editable, and I have this existing spline. Excuse me, I'll have a sip of coffee to get some caffeine. Cheers to everyone, whatever you're drinking. So I want to recreate this using nulls and a tracer object. And I'll tell you why that is very convenient sometimes to do. Because you can have a couple of nulls, or I don't know, 3 or 4 nulls. You can grab all these little buggers. So this is the first one. Just put them in order. Now, if you create a tracer object, and I want to connect all these objects, and I go down here, you may want a linear spline, or you need something. Akimas and cubics, make sure you have some sort of uniform. I like the Akima because it's nice and smooth. And now we have a spline that's fully controlled by these objects here. And that allows us to take, let's say, null 3, null 2. It's going to put it in line to spline. Let's drag the helix in here, and now we have this thing going on. So this is ultimately the method you can use. Now, let's go and delete all these and say, yeah, but I want to use this as my original spline. I don't want to draw nulls, and I have a spline. So one way to convert this would be to clone on the spline. So let's test this. Clone an object, and the object is the spline. Okay, make as many as you feel you are necessary, and make this editable. Now you have your oops, where are my nulls? Oh, I don't get nulls, so I need to do another trick here. Right. See if I can. I've done this a long time ago. So press C. Good. And I think there's a way to replace all these objects with another object. Somewhere in the character, there is a command. No, there is, let's see, convert. Oh, convert to nulls. There you go. So I can take all these. I've made my nulls now. I don't need another null. And these nulls are in the positions you require. Let's make them little spheres. And I can use these in my tracer. And I should get connect all objects, make it, I don't know, B-spline or something like that, and make it into uniform, maybe Bezier. Yeah, we don't have tangents, so it's not going to be perfect, but you get the idea. Maybe you can get these and, I guess, scale them out a bit, get it close, or something like that. So now you have that interesting spline, which is made out of these nulls, and you can move these away. Now, you could do that using XPresso. We have various point nodes where you can take a point node and drive it by the spline. It's a bit too complex to show. I'm just going to show you very quickly where you would look for various things. Go to XPresso here, and I like to go here and type, let's say, spline. So the spline node, you can use the offset value, which is 0 at the beginning of the spline and 1 at the end of the spline, and that value will give you the position of that point on the spline for the whole spline. So it's like an align to spline, but mathematical. And the other one would be the point. So you would dictate for a certain spline which point, the index of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth, and where you want it to go. So by using these in the proper way, you can set up something in XPresso. But this is a nice method as well if you're not so worried about the fidelity of your spline. Okie dokie. So where are we here? Light flicker, ABS, link one point to a null. That would be the point, or a point to a null. You can use, you can actually, right, so this is the question. Link one point to a null somehow. If it's with splines, we can't use joints and binding with splines, unfortunately. But if it's a polygon object, we can do that. So you just make one joint, you bind one point to that joint, and then that moves around. We also have the cluster object. It's a bit of a mystery. I'm not very familiar with a cluster, this cluster here. I don't know if it works with splines. You know, these are very interesting questions. So let's try that. Make this editable. We have a bunch of these. Let's select one. Again, no promises. I don't know if it works. So I've selected a point. I'm going to create a create cluster. And this will create a cluster with various parameters. And let's see if this is going to move that point. It doesn't work with this. Oh, no, wait. Let's do that. Nope. I'm moving. Yeah. With point objects, it should work, but it doesn't work here. Yeah, unfortunately. Just, no. Doesn't seem to work with splines. So you have to use some sort of workaround method. Oh, this is an interesting one. Who is the figure depicted in the bust model? The answer is nobody. If you go to the bust and find the male bust and the generic head and the female bust, I do not know. I do not know who these people are. Yeah, if anyone recognizes, or should we put a disclaimer that any similarity to people or situations is purely coincidental? But yeah, I don't. Looks like my cousin. Yeah, looks like a generic character. But anyway, I do not know. So that was a nice little one. Let's see. How can I unstick particles from a cloth simulation based on collision? Well, if they're stuck, they are already colliding. Can you be a bit more specific? Just use the form, write down something, or create a little example. So this is ideal. This kind of question is ideal. Create a very quick example with particles that are stuck, the sort of a cloth simulation, and something that comes in and collides, and say that this is the moment when this collides where I want the particles to stick on the other object or Unstick and so forth. Otherwise, it's a bit too vague. So please either DM me on Twixer or through the forum, send some sort of link. It does, when we convert a material to a node, it does not convert the material to a standard material, but yeah, tech support. Yeah. Anything that doesn't work the way you expect them to, like conversions, contact Maximo. Let's see. Why is there some short? Isn't there some? I don't know why there's shortcuts. That I can reply to questions on how to do things if it's directly possible. These are things that there's absolutely nothing I can do. There's no learning opportunity with these. So, oh, I think Marco is here. Hi, Marco. We cannot comment on future developments and all that. We're not allowed to. I'm going to get fired. So just remember, Maxon listens to you when you ask them, and they're always trying to do the best depending on how the requests and the whole development roadmap is. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people in Maxon would like to have fluids, but it's not a simple thing, right? Don't forget about that. So let's go down and see. I'm going to go back to the list for a second. Let me just mark where I am here. I have a few. This was an interesting one. It's about corrugated cardboard. So let's go to the banners. Let's paste this banner and let's add it and show it. How do you create a corrugated case with a detail of wavy paper inside? So you can see the detail from the edge of the cardboard. So you find an image or you shoot an image. Let's see here. I have cardboard. Let's go to my standard, and here it is, the cardboard. Okay, so what I did, I created two materials. This is just a editable cube. I created one selection around two sides, this side and that side, which then I'm applying to this material. So one material is a basic image of the side of cardboard, and the other image is just the surface of cardboard. So I just applied this material as an override to the side. Let me turn this off. Oh, I've got that on. Let me hide this and let me hide my face. Sorry for the obstruction. And it's just one material, which is this one. I just scaled it down and doesn't loop properly. I applied it to these two selections, the one on this side and the one on the other side. And for the rest of the material, just a normal material. So that's how you would do this. You don't have to model the cardboard. Just make sure you apply it to the, let's say, cut open edges. You could use another one here or something like that. But in general terms, that's how it works. And because everything is, I've used just the UVs, they do stick nice and properly to your cardboard. Now, there was a secondary question in that about folding things. That is a big subject. It depends. Yes, you can bring your die line in. So let's bring this in. Let's go here and paste it and press enter. So the die line was created in Illustrator. I need to import in C4D and fold it. Yes, how you folding is one of those things which conceptually it is simple. You just rotate your polygons, but practically it's extremely difficult. And the reason is when you get anything that has thickness and like cardboard and you fold it, all sorts of forces create wrinkles and create roundnesses, and physics take care of themselves and the thing just folds with whatever wrinkles and so forth. If you try that approach and you want detail on your edges, it's not as simple as that, because you're going to have sharp edges. Your cardboard is going to be, either shrunk inside or extended outside. So it all depends on what you're trying to do. If it's a static thing, yeah, you just close it, rotate. The method I prefer to use, and let me think if I have anything available. So let's try, because this could be interesting. I'm going to do something extremely simplistic, right? Let's assume that this is okay. This I'm going to create a cube here, and I'm going to fold 3 sides. I'm just copying and pressing shift to quantize it. There you go. So let's assume this is your die line, all right, and make it editable and connect objects and delete. So you got this thing, which is 4 splines, and you want to create some sort of folding cube. The way I usually deal with these things, providing that the die lines were correct, and because some CAD software that creates die lines and all that, they have roundings with multiple little edges and all that stuff. But let's say it was a nice little perfect watertight splines closed and all that. What I do is put this under an extrude and set the extrude to 0. And this will give me polygons. Now I can make this editable. Get rid of all these, I don't need them. And I have this polygonal structure, which to fold it properly, I can use the following technique. So I have my polygon selection on, and let's go to my rotation tool. Okay. Now there's a little trick with the axes tool, which is L. All right. So first of all, if I click L, I select it. If L again, I deselect it. But if I click and hold L, this is, I'm holding my L key down. This is a sticky key. When I release it, if you hold it for more than half a second and then release it, it deactivates. So press and hold L, and look at this now. My pointer is showing me points, edges, polygons. Again, without this, we're in polygon selection. When you have your axes on, so I'm pressing L, even if you select it here, the selector for the gizmo becomes a selector. And what it will do, because you're telling it to do something with the axes, it will just pin the axes there. There you go. Now, that's why I use the sticky key. Press L if you want to stop it, then rotate, let's say 90 degrees. I'm going to use the sticky key L. So click, hold L, click, release L, rotate 90 degrees. So click, hold L, click on the edge, release L, rotate 90 degrees. And this is how I do things. Now, if you have an edge which has some sort of rounding, so let me show you what I mean. I'm going to go here and add a few of these, and I'm going to go and select all these and scale them. Whoop. Let's assume that we want some sort of rounding here happening, to use these as a rounding. Well, we need to find the amount of degrees. How many turns does this have? So this is going to turn once, then twice, 3, 4, 5 times. So we need to find what is 1/5 of 90 degrees. And the trick, Softbody is a very expensive calculator. 90 divided by 5. It's 18 degrees. So what I will do here is press Shift C and bring up the snapping. You can, the quantizing. The quantizing rotate slider. Put it here and set it to 18 degrees. So what I'm going to do now is say, I'm going to select all these. I'm going to go to my rotate tool. I'm going to hold L, click on this, go here and do 18 degrees. Why wasn't that rotated? Yeah, because I didn't hold that. So there you go, 18 degrees. Deselect, hold L, hold, oh, it's on, turn that off. Hold L, click, 18 degrees. Deselect, hold L, click, 18 degrees. Deselect, hold L, 18 degrees, and deselect, hold L, and 18 degrees. There you go. So we have a full 90-degree turn to do that. And I know it sounds tedious, but if you want things to be accurate like this, you can always get a bend deformer and confine it to that little area and so forth. But I actually find it easier to go like this. I have control. It will take me, what, half an hour to fold the box. I'm good to go. And it's nice and perfect. So that's what, the whole folding thing. Then you would thicken it. You would thicken it depending on which direction you want to go, because even with thickening, you're going to have certain potential issues. Always try the thicken first, and let's make it say two. Make sure that where these things meet, you don't have problems. You can see we're getting so. Oh, that's because all the polygons are disconnected. I forgot about that, because it was the object was made from 5 separate squares. Just make sure you optimize. So go somewhere here. It says optimize. It's going to weld everything. Now turn this on. There you go. These are the kind of things that you will have. It's very difficult, nearly impossible, to get something that will fold properly when you have a single polygon. You need to take these things into account. But at the end of the day, maybe visually it doesn't make a difference. Add your thickness. Make sure then, if you're going to put the corrugated sort of that material on some of these edges, the other ones are going to be straight. It requires some work, but this would be the recommended workflow. If you want to weld the edges here, go ahead and weld them and all that nice stuff. Okay. Losing track. What time is it? Ooh, overrun. Good. That's good luck. So let's see. I've got the last question I'm going to deal with from the form. Let's go to banners. Let's do this, paste it, press enter, and add it. So I want a light to pick up its projected color from where it's been cloned with in the world from a color shader. Anyway, so that was the MoGraph color. And unfortunately, the answer to this, as I said earlier, is that when we're using the light texture, the light material, the ability to blend with MoGraph in order for the light to pick up the material doesn't work. This is a good thing for a suggestion towards the Redshift team. So let's go to the comments here and find out where we are, because I've lost track where we are. There we go. You can have a drink of non-sugar. It's just like soda water with natural flavors. When you hear natural flavors, it's all chemicals. But chemicals are made in nature, right? So let's see. I do not know the answer to this, but we'll check it out by question by Brad. Is there a way to control the visible light of an area light so that affecting a volume like linear option in Decay, but with controllable and smooth fall off without using a light shader graph? I don't know. Let's find out. That's what we do here. We try and find out things. So I have, let's go make a couple of lights and make it smaller. Let's move this here, make another one. And let's add, if you don't know, you need a Redshift environment in order to see the volumetric contribution of lights. And usually it's absolutely massive. Now, there are ways you can bring down the intensity. And just to make things a bit clearer, I'm going to bring down the spread so they sort of point forwards a bit. Whoop. All right. I think the question is about how to get the lights to have a different penetration. So this one here, 9.44. Why is it? Oh, yeah. I was looking at it from a perspective. So it could be the decay here, if it's linear, if it's none. And with linear, you can control this in a better way. So let me just make the light a bit less intense. Both of them a bit less intense. I thought I selected both of them. Oh yeah, one has linear, one has the other. These little artifacts here, I've told, I talked about another one. If you go to your RS environment and set the attenuation to 0.001, this fixes it. There's something going on there, which I don't know what it is. So changing the type of your decay, quadratic is based on distance, but linear, you can control how much it penetrates in the volume. And it doesn't, you can have different intensities, but this will be the best way to do that. Now, was the question about a curve? Let's see. Yeah, there's, I would say, nothing else I would add to this, but this would be how the light fall off. If it's a very specific thing, again, please compile a scene and let us know. Oops, I'm just untagging this. Yep, let me go down the list. Oh, maybe I can. So the redshift tag, the overview. Well, the redshift tag is contextually smart. So cube, light, spline, particle system. Let's go create a particle system. Emitter, basic emitter. Okay, so we have these 4 types of objects, and all are going to receive a redshift tag. So render redshift object tag. When you have a particle, it knows that this is a point object, and it will give you the particles. If it's a spline, it knows that it's a curve, and you can render it using the hair. If it's a light, I don't know what it's going to do with the light, but you can see it has various the basic settings, the same as any object, because everything is on the light anyway. So this will allow you to assign an ID for the particular object to use with AOVs. If you want to override motion blur for particular objects, if you're going to use motion vectors, which is just 3 numbers for X, Y, Z, if you have those hard coded from, you can encode them into vertex colors and so forth. If you're going to exclude it from visibility from other things, from reflections and other objects and so forth, and different types of overrides. But the essence of the redshift object is that it is necessary if you want to render a spline, for example. So let's just remove it from everything, remove the cube and the particle group and all that. If you want to render a spline, by definition, Redshift will not render the spline here. Okay, but if you go here and you add your Redshift object, it recognizes you have to go to curve and enable it, so a hair strand, and there you go. So now you can render splines. Even if you add an object here, you will see that the spline is rendered properly. And that's the overview. It takes some obscure data from different types of objects and passes it to Redshift so that Redshift can render these things. Okay, let's see. Final stretch, maybe 10 minutes. Laser, we did show in one of our things, there was a question about lasers, but I would just use a cylindrical visible light or right, let's see lasers firing using particles, right? Emitter, I want a point emitter. I want to shoot 3 particles per second. So zip, 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 too close, 900. I want 1 particle per second. So zip, zip, good. Let's move up and make it go faster, because lasers go fast. They go at the speed of light. I don't think Star Wars got that one right, but any case, pew, there you go. You see that? It goes pew, there it is. And what I would do is add a tracer, bonk, and it will follow this particle. So now it's going to create a straight line. But I'm going to go from end and say I want it to only be 3 frames long. There you go. And all you have to do is take this tracer, add a redshift render tags, a redshift object, and set it to curves, hair strands, and add a emissive material. I would say let's turn this on. And let's go here and set the emission. So I don't want any of these things. I don't care about these. The emission is going to overtake it. Set it to 2. Set it to red. That's the color. And there you go. You have your little laser firing. Pew. Then it's up to you to put all sorts of effects in post. But that's how you make a laser fire. There you go. There it goes. Let's see what else we have here. So, let's see. Sorry for the silence. I'm just reading through. Yeah, some comments there. Hello to everyone. I send back my greetings. Let's see here. Good morning. Good morning, sir. In 2025, is there a way to control the path along which particles flow, like cornering or 90 degrees turns? Like, yes, there is. I think I showed that at another show. I don't even remember. I think I showed that on last Monday's or this Monday's. Was it last Monday? Was it this Monday? Last Monday's Create Maxon, which showed the new features. So let me show you how this can be done. And I'm going to just demonstrate it with a very simple emitter that just fires a single particle, just to keep things very simple. So we have this. There you go. So we have this particle going, and there has been a update to the turn, and the turn modifier now has the set mode and the turn mode. And the turn mode will give you a per frame or per second turn. So if I say I want to turn 90 degrees per second, what this is going to do, it's going to turn oh yeah, in the alignment towards the plus X, of course, because it's going towards the plus Z. So there you go. So it's turning around for just until it reaches that handles. Oops. Yeah, the handles are good. Let's go closer. So here it is. And if I set this to look as well, now it's going to turn in that direction, right? And because it's turning and its local X always changes, that's how you do it. Now, there's a way to program this in. And one of the things I did, I'm just going to bring it up. Let me just find it in my unlimited repository of various files. Let me find this. I need to go here, and I need to go 1 second here, and then I'm going to go here, and let's find this. It's called turn. I don't even know how I name these things. Is it turn? It's just chaos, you know. There's a lot of stuff here. I have to figure out what it is. 1 second. Oh, come on. I know you're here. I could go alphabetically and find the T for turn. Oh, there you go. That's it. So this is a setup that I had done as some sort of tutorial. And now you'll see these particles, they just turn 90 degrees using just a simple time condition where we reset the age, and then for the next few frames, it goes a number of degrees, 9 degrees per frame, because I want it to happen in 10 frames in total. But yes, the answer is definitely yes. You can make them turn in specific ways. Okay. Let's quickly go question number 2 by my friend Drake. Question part 2, network effect. Have you used this? Can you get them to not intersect? Network effect, I would assume you mean something like the well-known plexus thing, if I'm not mistaken. I've done some nodal setups to do that, but I think that Rocket Lasso introduced something for the asset manager. I'm not sure. I must have lost a few things, missed a few things. Sorry. For them not to intersect, currently we need to use the particle-to-particle modifiers we have currently, and the only one that works between particles is the flock. So if you do really want particles not to intersect, let's get a sphere, let's set them, let's shoot 10,000 particles and no speed. You will have to do it by telling the flock to not have any cohesion, only separation, and you can define, say, 2 centimeters for the separation. And this, in theory, would push them, so that they don't really intersect. One thing I like to do, the example of this would be if I emit on a circle, right, on a disk. Let me just rotate it here, and it's the particles are going to try and sort of distance themselves because of the amount of separation radius I have. Now, what you can do to keep them, I don't even know. I don't think that was a question, but in any case, just going to show you a couple of things. These are becoming chaotic because the repulsion forces, the separation forces, are going in all sorts of directions. So we need to sort of control that. So make sure you go to the math and you assign the position y to 0. So this will force them, or you can even minimize the velocity in the y. So this will always force them on that plane. Now, these are going to be running away as long as there is some sort of distance between them. I do not want that to happen. So what you could do is go and add a very high friction. And this is going to push against them going into disarray. It will allow this to resolve because there still are forces being applied to each other because of the separation. And the friction doesn't allow them to leave. And once they reach some sort of equilibrium where they all have a distance close to 2 centimeters, then they could settle down. And that will be some sort of way. I don't even remember the question. I apologize for that. But this is some technique you could use, and I think it's quite handy. Okay. Let's see what this is. I have a character in Mixamo doing an assault course climbing across actions from motion clips. How can I blend those motion clips with the running and walking in specific directions along a path? This is something you need to watch the month of motion capture. If you go to Cineversity and you type motion capture, Joe Herman did 4 weeks of that. I was part of the show as well, and then he did some tutorials. And he was talking about using motion clips, mixing, how to use the I always forget the name, the pivot to do stuff. So it's not a simple thing that can be addressed here. It took us a month plus some series. So go to Cineversity and check it out. There's a lot of information there. Okay. Let's see. There's a way to control the visible light or narrow light affecting the volume, like a linear operation. I think that's a question I dealt with. My friend Vitas. There used to be a product with a fold. I don't know what's happening with that. Yeah, tech support. Call them. Okay. Let's see. Sorry about that. Final few questions. Let's go to my friend Drake again. There's a character limit per post here, part 2, them to not intersect. Yeah, that's what I just showed. Hopefully, yeah, I'm going to read the other question in a second. Let's go here. And There are two conditional parts. Question one, the interaction part is the thrust of my question. The intersection part. Yes. Now, having said the flocking is the only way to create this avoidance. We do not have particle to particle collision. If that was the case, so it has to be a combination of using the flock with certain settings. Okay. Oh, but everything is yeah. You've watched that, but everything is a straight line. Contact me, DM me, and I'll see if I can put something together or find something to guide you in that direction. Okay, last question. That's it. Let's see what this is. Can we paint directly on a mesh inside Cinemafody and add details and colors without altering the polygon counts? Yeah, we do. We have body paint. Cinemafody has a 3D painting software inside. It's old. You need to find an old tutorial. Go to Cineversity, check out body paint, and if you have access to lynda.com, LinkedIn Learning, wow, that was over 10 years ago. I did a series back then. Now, a lot of that stuff is still relevant, but it's not as simple as it may sound. What I could do, right, let me do this, and this is going to be the final. No more questions. Let's go. Male bust, right? We have this male bust here. And right, good. Let's delete the material. Okay, let's go to the UV edit layout. And somewhere around here, which I always forget where it is I'm not even going to go here. I'm just going to go to the standard. I'm going to Shift C and type wizard. And there's a paint setup wizard. I'm going to click on it, and it's going to say which object, the male bust, next, UVs, automatic packed UVs to create the automatic packed, or if it already has UVs, I don't want to recalculate them. I know this object does have UVs. A single material node, that's good enough. What do I want to paint on? I'm going to just paint the color. What the resolution? 2048. Not 20,448, 2048. Finish, close, and I can start painting on the guy, right? So there's an interface with brushes and colors and all that stuff. I think it's the paint interface. There you go. You can make a little nose here and all that. We have different types of brushes. We have projection brushes. We can make it bigger. We can make it smaller, and so forth. And then you can save this as a Photoshop file, a TIFF file, a PNG, whatever you want. You can add layers. It's for anyone that doesn't know, body paint is extremely powerful, but it's old. I used to be extremely powerful when I was young. Now I'm getting old, right? It's the same thing. And I won't get an update. So yeah, we can paint stuff in Cinemafody and save it and use layers and open Photoshop files. I can take this and somewhere here I can save the texture, yeah. Anyway, you can look at the UV editor, so you can paint on the UV editor as well. Here you can save the file, save texture as, you can choose the format, all these, or you can load another one. You can take it in Photoshop, do something, bring it back, and so forth. Okay, that's it. I think we're done for the day. Let me bring up this. It's 30 minutes overrun. Keep the questions coming. Keep the vibes flowing. Enjoy, depending on which part of the world you are, the weather changing. If you're from the southern hemisphere, it's getting warmer. If you're in the northern hemisphere, it's getting colder. If you're right in the middle, it's always the same. So yeah, let us know. Go through the forums. And again, I'm very grateful for you hanging out with me and asking the questions, interacting with me, and tolerating my non-jokes sometimes. And I'm going to go to the page where I'm going to click on the video in a second. And yeah, thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your week and be creative.